Hey, it's America's Supermom. Thank you for joining me on my podcast. This series is the Corona Chronicles. I created this so that we would have an outlet of positivity in the midst of a lot of negativity. You know what I'm talking about. All the news, the fear around this virus, how it can affect us, what the new normal is looking like, and how so many things have changed that a lot of people feel like um, it is the end of the world, so to speak. So, this podcast was created so that those of us who have hope, who are willing to move forward with this new normal and innovate new things that will help us to be creative and positive. That is what this platform is for us to come together and share that positivity and that light with those who may need it. So if you're interested in sharing your insight, please reach out because we can never have enough positive news. So sit back and enjoy the show.
I want to thank you guys for joining me today. I'm really excited about my next guest, Casey Berman. We actually were connected through, I believe it was LinkedIn, through a mutual friend, Sagel, and really excited to have Casey here today. We were able to have a Zoom call and just really dive into some commonalities, and I think that is so important during this time when we have so much uncertainty, so many different things going on in the current landscape with health, just with the race relations. I mean, I can go on and on with some of the things that are happening right now amongst voting, okay?
Hmm.
Thinking about that in the near future. So at this time, I want to give Casey the opportunity to introduce himself before we dive into some of these topics.
Michelle, thank you so much for having me. I'm honored. I really
Hmm.
am. I've been following what you're doing in your personal life and here professionally and what you're sharing, and it's first of all just so aligned, and I'm learning a ton. So just a big thank you
Uh,
first off to you for doing this, for
uh,
creating all of this, and for
hmm.
having me.
Hmm.
So yeah, let me do a quick intro. I always joke I was a Jewish kid who didn't like blood, so I didn't go to medical school. I went to law school, and I'm I either get a laugh or from other attorneys I get a knowing nod like you're right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so and I'm out here born and raised in San Francisco, and I'm still out here on the West Coast. And I tell that story because that has really informed a lot of what I did right when I graduated college. I went right to law school here in San Francisco, and the path I took, where I sort of went the professional corporate route. I left the law after 5 years. It just wasn't a fit for me. I realized I really hadn't thought critically about going to law school. And therefore, when I was 32, 35, 37, there just wasn't a fit. And it's not
Mm,
only that I wasn't happy, I was anxious, I was nervous, I wasn't doing the job a fit for me. I
mm,
just wasn't, there was a lot of imposter syndrome and all that. So I left the law. I've done a number of things, but one thing that I'm most proud of is Leave Law Behind, which is a career coaching program, online course and coaching program where we've helped hundreds of attorneys to begin their path out of law and find alternative careers. Someone just left last week, so
mm.
um, that's what I do. I do also just launching kcberman.com, which is where I want to take a lot of the learnings from Leave Law Behind and bring it to the broader audience and kind of let everyone know how if they're anxious, like you were talking about, anxious, nervous,
Mhm.
not aligned with their job, there's a real way for them to find that alignment, to find that peace. And so I just want to keep spreading that word and helping people.
That is so awesome. And you brought up so many different points that I could just go all over the place. But I guess the first thing is, what do you think kind of led you on that journey to law? Because
Yeah.
many of us, we kind of like feel like there's just this roadmap that everybody has to follow,
Yeah.
you know. So do you feel that was your story, or how was it that law came in the picture?
Yeah, it was the roadmap, and everyone's got their roadmap, whether it's be an engineer, whether it's be a housewife or stay-at-home
Mhm.
dad, or whether it's whatever. But it's programming. I mean, there's a reason TV programming is called programming.
Mhm.
And I don't want to get too big brother conspiracy theory. I don't want anyone to go, oh, here we go again. But I do
I
want
love it. I
okay.
love it.
I, the thing that I've had to really unravel or unwind is this idea, is all these limiting beliefs I had growing up. Now, I grew up in
Mhm.
a great family. I'm still close to my parents, my sister. There's a lot of really good beliefs that I had, and I'm
Mhm.
passing those on. There's beliefs that are unlimited and that have really helped me, but there's a lot that limited me, whether it's from
Mhm.
family or media or just society. And some of them, one of them was, you speak well, you like to argue at the dinner table, be a lawyer.
Mhm.
And to date, I'm 46, so LA law was big in the 80s. I didn't really watch it, but I knew, all I knew was that lawyers had money, they wore nice suits, and they lived in LA and drove nice cars. And yeah, isn't that what everyone
Mm.
wants? So it really only took that to where I said, yeah, I guess
Mm.
I'll be a lawyer. And I wasn't a math person. I wasn't a chemical engineer and liberal arts major. And there you go. I mean, it just goes to show. And I think so many people, whether it's something
Mhm.
professional or something personal, subscribe to these limiting beliefs. And so some of the things that I want to do and I want to work on now, and I know you're doing, is to deprogram, to unravel these limiting
Mhm.
beliefs. And these limiting beliefs could be no pain, no gain, um, you
Mhm.
know, TGIF, thank God it's Friday, the Sunday
Mhm.
night anxiety, or I'll never get
Mhm.
there, success happens to other people, it doesn't happen to me. And we could go on and on. But those limiting
Mhm.
beliefs literally just need to be faced, realize it's
Mhm.
limiting energy, and then just let go.
I love that. And so after 5 years, you had pretty much got that moment where you said, this is enough. So walk somebody through that because some people, this is like maybe a journey that kind of unfolded for you, but for some people, it's kind of like a rapid
Yeah,
fire type thing. The rug was pulled up underneath you with this COVID or,
right.
different things like that. So what did that look like? What was it that you decided that kind of took you on a different path?
It's a great question, thank you for asking. And I'll tell two very
Mhm.
quick stories. There So the thing also is, I had on paper the job everyone wants, and people said I was
Mhm.
stupid for leaving. I was in-house counsel for a technology company here in San Francisco. If you look at the dot-com movies back in early 2000s, like, dogs in the office, that was me.
Mhm.
And so people said, Casey, you're crazy, don't leave a good thing. So it was even harder.
Mhm.
And I will tell
Mhm.
everyone, if you're in a job or a life that is not horrible, it's kind of in the middle, it's
Mhm.
okay, or maybe it's pretty good, that's even harder to leave, because when things are
Mhm.
horrible, you snap, you go, and you jump, right? You have nothing else to lose. It's,
Mhm.
for many of us in the middle, it can be even more
Mhm.
difficult to leave. And that's where I was. And
Mhm.
you have a lot of guilt. I should just appreciate what I have, and so on. So two quick
Mhm.
stories. I did a lot of software licensing negotiating, and I did a lot of writing, and it sounds real cool and everything, but it just got boring and monotonous. And I'll never forget, I was always negotiating at the end of the quarter, the end of the year. We had to get, the salespeople had to get it in. And I spent like weeks on this one deal. We finally closed at, 8:59 p.m. on the last day of the quarter. I put a ton
Mhm.
of work into it and I got paid. That was my job. Got it. But the
Mhm.
salesperson made, I think, a six-figure commission.
Mhm.
All the power to him. Like, that's his job. Perfect. Beautiful.
Mhm.
He bought me, and this is very sincere, he bought me back then an iPod, and he inscribed something on the back. And I remember thinking, that's really nice also, but this guy just made over 100 grand. I just got a
Mhm.
$200 iPod. And I just remember thinking,
Mhm.
okay, I'm in the wrong business. No, nothing, no jealousy, just got
Right.
it. And so that hit me, that I was kind of working by the hour for a lot less than he was, and realizing you can make money in so many other ways out there. And then the
Mhm.
second one, a year later, we had a company group together, and there was a reorg. It was a really kind of pep rally, good thing. It was a great company. But I'll never forget, they put a name tag on us. The company was growing, and it was Casey Berman, legal department, admin. And I was in the admin group.
Mm.
And I remember thinking, I don't admin. I didn't want to be in administration, and I don't want to, but
Mm.
just my personality, I wanted something more creative. I wanted to be connecting with people, and administration was kind of like, you, you know.
Mhm.
So I tell those two stories just to say, not to say, woe is me, or hey, or I'm a diva or anything, but just to say, this process, like you talked, this roadmap, literally it
Mhm.
happened over a few years, but there were these instances where I was feeling that disconnect. And I
Mm.
knew I could just suppress them and push them down and then
Mhm.
go to my deathbed and say I should have done something, or I could do something then. And it was difficult, but
Mhm.
I tell these two stories many, many years later that still sync with me. And so if anyone has these moments of disconnect, of
Mhm.
misalignment, of just
Mhm.
you know, that feeling, listen to it. Doesn't mean you need to act right away, but really listen to it.
Mhm. Yeah, so this is good. So walk us through like something that somebody might do in that case that is taking a baby step because
Yeah,
just like you mentioned, we have these emotional ties and ties to where we think our identity is
correct.
wrapped up in this position. So
Yeah,
how do we begin to kind of separate and be our own person
yeah.
and recognize the gifts and skills we do have to not limit and stay and stuck in this
My
misalignment.
Your questions are, I mean, you just mentioned baby step identity. Lachelle, like, wow. So your questions are so colorful and powerful. So let me do my best here and I'll try and do it quickly. So the first thing is baby steps. You don't need to take
Mhm.
giant leaps. There will be a point where you take giant leaps and you hit the grand slam, or you got the 90-yard run, or you hit the Steph Curry shot from half court. Like, that
Mhm.
takes a lot of work to get to. I'm a Warriors fan, by the way. We'll be back next year. So so but that takes a lot. There's a lot of baby steps that lead up to the half court shot, to the grand slam. So that's
Mhm.
one thing. Take your baby steps and so on. There's another quote. E.L. Doctorow, he was a writer, professor, and he said this quote about writing, but I like to take it to life, and I always butcher it, but it's essentially writing or life is like driving home at night, where all you have are your headlights to show you. You can only see so far as your headlights on the road, but you know you're going to get
Mm.
home that way.
Mm.
And if you apply that, he applied it to writing a book, a novel, but I apply it to life as well. I think it's so powerful. I say it all the time. Whereas
Yeah.
I know you can only see your headlights, which go a
Mhm.
week out, 2 weeks out, maybe a month out, but that's okay. You're
Mhm.
going to get home. You're going to get to your ideal self. So with that, with baby steps in mind and just being comfortable with that, let's go to what you asked about identity. And I think we are so caught in this idea of identity, who we are. Lachelle, Casey, I'm a professional, I'm a class
Mhm.
clown, I'm the life of the party, I am the serious person, I'm responsible, whatever it is.
Mhm.
And there's David R. Hawkins is an MD. He was a psychiatrist. He has the books Power versus Force and Letting Go. Phenomenal books. I recommend everyone to read. Very
Mhm.
accessible. But what he really talks about is that we cling to this identity, whatever it is, and it's connected with the ego, kind of this Freudian idea of the ego, which is
Mhm.
we get these little cheap payoffs, he calls them, from
Mm.
staying with our identity, even if it hurts us. So what he means by
Wow.
that is, if you have the identity of, like I have, I know you have children, I have two.
Mhm.
I get really angry if the dishes aren't cleaned or I got to clean up, and I can't tell you how many times I've grumbled and said, "Am I the only one who even cares about this house?" Right? You know,
You sound like my husband.
right?
Look, I'm the one where the dishes are in the sink. He's the one saying that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I need to be on his
I
podcast.
love it.
I want to be
I
on his
love it.
podcast. So and even though it's miserable, even though it's 10 o'clock at night, even though you want to be watching the game and here you are washing the dishes, we
Mhm.
still get a payoff, the holier than thou. We
Mhm.
get that anger. And just like, for any Star Wars fans, just like Emperor Palpatine, who really wanted everyone to be angry so they would feed their anger and everyone would fight, and that was his master plan. That's kind
Mhm.
of the master plan the ego has for us. That's why when you look in the world, the
Mm.
duality, Republican, Democrat, black, white, I mean, whatever it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
And so the way to flip this, and this is
Okay.
crazy and it's mind opening for me, eye opening, mind opening, is to realize that there's really everything is literally love or a call for love. So if
Mm.
you see Trump blaring with his face and his hair and just everything that disgusts you, you realize he's saying, I'm stuck in an identity. I feel a ton of
Mhm.
pain. I feel like I have to be the strong man because his father
Mhm.
or whatever. And you
Mhm.
literally have to realize he's calling for help. Or if you look on the other
Mhm.
side of and you look at a Bernie Sanders or an AOC or someone like that, who's saying something and they're yelling and screaming and saying things that make you afraid they're going to go down the road of socialism and ruin this country, you got to realize that's a call for help too. That's a call for love.
Mhm.
So I have had to unravel my identity, which is
Mm.
normal, straight-laced, responsible Jewish kid, San Francisco.
Mhm.
I got to do everything right. I have to dress well and look good. I'm professional. And so when I unravel this, not that I now don't like to dress well, I still take showers, I still
Right.
comb my hair, but just
Yeah.
realizing I don't need to be all of that.
Right.
And it's painful. So
Mhm.
to put a bow on this idea is like look at your identity, look at really those beliefs you have and see which
Mhm.
ones are really worth. Like if Trump just said I don't have to be a law and order guy as much, I can just chill a little bit. He would be the
Mhm.
uniter we all want him to be. But no, for some reason that's his identity and he can't let it go. So
Mhm.
does that make sense?
I love that. I mean, that is so true because I was on an interview some time ago about the very same thing.
Hmm.
For me, I have to kind of have that view of looking out for the love or the call for
Yeah.
love as
Yeah.
a parent.
Yep. Yep.
Because not every child is going to be on your program, so to
Right.
speak. You're like, okay, we're all going to sit down, we're going to eat dinner. Somebody doesn't want what you made,
Right.
so
Oh,
it's always this
every night.
situation. Yeah, so I think, we have a lot of routine, not thinking,
Yeah.
that's associated with this identity because it's like the identity just is. We don't question it.
Right.
So for somebody who is thinking, okay, I'm realizing that maybe this identity isn't serving me anymore.
Hmm.
And, that's kind of a hard place to be. What do you recommend they start doing to kind of overcome that?
Yeah. So the first one, so let's take anyone you have in mind. You don't have to name names, but is there any sort of, is it a professional identity, a personal?
Yeah, let's say professional because you have people who are out of work or they
Hmm.
have to reinvent themselves.
Hmm.
They've been on a job for years and that industry is changing or
Yeah.
they're used to being live face to face. Now they're virtual. I mean, it could be anything. Yeah.
Yeah. So I'll take you an example with many of the lawyers that we run into. I
Mhm.
get it over. So there was a lawyer in upstate New York. She's part of the program, and she was really hung up on the fact that uh, Casey, I get it, but I'm not in San Francisco. I'm not in New York City. I'm not in LA. I'm not in Austin. I'm not in tech hubs. How am I going to
Mhm.
get a job? And her identity has always been commuting to the office, has always been going to
Mm.
court. And one thing that
Mhm.
we've worked on is the world has totally changed. You can work from
Mhm.
anywhere nowadays.
Mhm.
And she gets it. She understands working from home. She's worked from home sometimes, but it's a total shift in identity for her to
Mhm.
be this maestro, be this architect, be this whatever you want to call it from her home desk. And things will open up, but this idea of her going, wait a minute, you mean when things open up and I can get in a car and go somewhere, maybe even get on a plane, I can go see the client. I can go to the office once a week, once a month, and the rest I'm at home or
Mhm.
I'm working from a
Mhm.
vacation home. So, and it's like, yes, if that's what you want. I mean, if when things open up, you want to be in the office 5 days a week, go right ahead. But so what I would
Mhm.
say to the salesperson who's like, how do I do this? I used to take people out for drinks and now I have to do this thing called Zoom for sales. Or the person
Mhm.
who is used to commuting in and sitting in the office and having their social group there, or the person who is used, has a crazy life at home and can't work at home and just needs to be in the office, or is single and has roommates and lives like in a frat house or sorority house and needs to get out. So there's this identity that you have, and sure there's limitations and there's loud and the internet connection, and Starbucks isn't open yet, but the idea is to really say like, okay, there's this idea that for me to do sales I need to be in person. So
Mm.
maybe it's not necessarily, ugh, how do I do in person stuff via Zoom, because
Mhm.
that's a square peg in a round hole. It could be
Mhm.
more so, maybe I write, maybe I do some content marketing. Maybe I start
Mhm.
posting more on LinkedIn. Maybe I start
Mhm.
really putting myself out as an expert. People start reading some things, and then
Mhm.
the phone calls come. Now, one, they're going to say, Casey, I don't
Mhm.
know how to write. Great. Go transcribe it into your
Mhm.
phone, use that Dragon speaking software, hire someone
Mhm.
offshore for $2 an hour to transcribe it for you. You can use rev.com to transcribe it and into a Word document. So knock that objection out. Everyone can be a
Mhm.
writer now with technology. If you can speak, you can be a writer. Okay.
Right.
You
I
know,
love that.
hire an editor to help. But and then they're going to say that may take time. Sure, it may take time. And if you need to
Mhm.
make some bucks in the meantime, let's find a way to do it. But instead of becoming a salesperson, become a thought leader, become an expert. I mean, like Lachelle, you're
Mm.
doing. I mean, you've got this
Mhm.
podcast. It's taking you some time, but you're connecting
Mhm.
into what you enjoy. And now people look at you and they go, oh my God, look at her recordings, look at her guests, look at what she's doing. Things,
Mhm.
opportunities now come to you. You and I got connected. You didn't cause
Mhm.
that to happen. So I
Mhm.
would say the same things is that, reinventing is this big word, but rather you want to look at it like, I cannot sell. If you're a salesperson, I cannot sell in the traditional way via Zoom. But this whole technology, digital
Mhm.
thing, how do I make it work for me? Well, there's content marketing,
Mhm.
thought leadership, things like that. So that's one example that where I would say you literally just want to reframe it.
Mhm. I love that. And I love that whole thing about the transcription because I'm co-authoring a book with somebody and we were trying to write it and we just said, "You know what? Forget this. We're doing transcription." So we
Mhm.
interview each other, take the audio and then we are transcribing it into a book. So, great idea.
And if you go to
But
rev.com, I mean, for an
mhm.
hour's worth, it'll cost you like $3. Now you have to probably spend another hour going in and editing if that's what you want to do.
Right.
But it's nothing. You've got your transcription there.
Yeah, you can't beat it. I
You know,
mean, that's just the way to go. That's what I said. I said, hey, you know what? If it's too hard, maybe the process is not right. So we need to,
I
change
like it.
something up about it because we like the idea.
I like that line.
But I love this whole thing about, you get these lawyers and you're helping them to transition and find something that they are aligned with. So walk somebody through the process of understanding why you need a coach for that. Because some people are like, oh, you know what, this is it. I'm done with this. And that's it. I'm going to turn my life around.
Yeah.
So walk them through that process because, I mean, I'm an advocate for coaches. I
Mhm.
wouldn't be where I am today without it.
Yeah.
So explain to them why that element is key.
Yeah. So a coach, the way I look at a coach is a coach, to use your word, a coach lays out the roadmap for you. And
Hmm.
we provided a ton of resources there. You could do it for free. I mean, some people don't need coaches, they're able to do it. The reason I think that roadmap also calls people out on their BS. So I'll give
Hmm.
you an example and how they fool themselves. That ego coming back saying, no, 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 stick the status quo and so on. That's really where a coach needs to be bold and courageous. And I'll take you through. We literally lay out the 5 steps of leaving law behind. The first one is overcoming your fears, those limiting
Hmm.
beliefs.
Hmm.
What will people think? Will I disappoint people? Will I make money? We've cataloged over 20 of them, and we just really help you overcome these beliefs. The second one is your identity. Many lawyers think, I need to have this identity. I need to have an Esquire. What if I lose it as other people? What if I'm not a salesperson anymore? What if I'm not this? What will
Hmm.
I be? The third step is around money. It's a real taboo topic. We help people kind of forecast, can they afford this? And also, what is their relationship with money? So touchy feely and also very tactical. Mod step 4 is around what we call your unique genius, what you're really good at. And many
Hmm.
lawyers and many people don't find a job that they're really good at. It's reverse. They do it for stature, because their mom wants them, because
Mm,
society wants them, and then they realize 10 years in, I hate this job. Well, it's because
mhm,
you didn't lead with what you're good at. So we flip
mhm,
that for folks and we help them understand this narrative. And then the fifth one is, what non-law jobs are out there? What alternative
mhm,
careers? What is a project manager? What's an account manager? What's a chief operating officer? What is a content marketer? And we help them. So the first thing that we do, and where you'd probably want to get a coach to help you, is to, what is the roadmap? And then,
mhm,
because then you have that clarity. That's the headlights, right? For the quote earlier,
mhm,
that's the
mhm,
headlights. And you go, okay,
mhm,
I've got my steps. Here we go. It's just like a trainer in the gym saying, you're doing the form wrong. Like, why would you do it this way? You want, oh, and you go, oh my God, that feels so much better. That's what we help them.
Right.
And
Right.
then we're there to help refine and polish and be bold with them. And I'll give you an example. People will say, great, I got this roadmap. And then what they can do though is they can fall into their habits. So in step 4 around unique
Mhm.
genius, sometimes lawyers, and I know many people, but lawyers want to quote unquote get it right. They want to win. They want to do their unique
Mhm.
genius the best. And I have to tell them, this isn't about winning. It was winning in the courtroom, or it's winning at the sale.
Mhm.
But you understand, we're in a different world now.
Mhm.
This is Luke Skywalker in episode 6, not fighting Darth Vader with hate, but fighting him with love. The only reason he turned Darth Vader around was
Mm.
because he realized there was still good in him. All right. And you know this in any, if you're not a Star Wars fan, in any story, it's all about, turning the hero, the evil monster around,
Mhm.
turning that fear into love. And so
Mhm.
you'll see the reason you need a coach throughout these steps is because you can fall into bad habits. You can still be afraid. And a
Mhm.
coach is there to say, you've made great progress, but
Mhm.
move forward. I mean, look at Steph Curry. He just broke his hand
Mhm.
and he's the best, one of the best players. He
Mhm.
needs a coach. He needs Steven Adams. He
Mhm.
needs these guys on the Warriors bench to help him and get
Mhm.
his mind back into shape, because it's easy to lose that confidence. So one, I think coaches are great because we lay out the roadmap, we tell people what to do, and then
Mhm.
two, we help refine, we help optimize, and we also help keep them on the path when invariably those fears and boogeymen raise their heads.
Mhm. And I mean, I think that is so true. And I think another thing with that too is, a lot of people have compartmentalized their career from their family.
Right.
So, and that identity goes with that career. And when you have a coach, you're able to blend that to some extent
Mhm.
because, they help you with are you going to communicate your new zone of genius
Yeah.
in a way that, empowers you and that can translate to better situations at home. I know that at least worked for me because your family is like, not only do you have that identity, but they associate that identity with you.
It's
So
totally
everyone's
right.
kind of going through this process.
Exactly. And it's
So
a
those are,
balance because you don't
mhm.
want to piss off your family and leave them and,
Right.
I'm going with this guru, see you later. But there is that point of just, okay, my
Yeah.
family's great, but I need to break free of this one way of thinking. Totally.
So true. So, walk us through, what do you think your outlook is for, post pandemic, and what are some things that you do to kind of keep you moving forward positive in spite of, things that come out of your control?
Yeah. So control, it's a great
Mhm.
question. And I mean, you know the line that, the only thing we can control is how we react to things. And so
Mhm.
there's a lot of fear and anxiety and wanting to control. The whole country seems to be just gripping their fists, like all our
Mhm.
collective hands are red, and and so on. And so I'm no futurist, but if I were to grab a crystal ball, I think this will be behind us. I
Mhm.
love this country. We're a resilient country. We don't want to be flippant about it, but I think there will be a time where you go, remember we were wearing masks. Um,
Right.
I don't think it's going to be a vaccine on next February 1st, and then February 2nd everything is fine. Like it's not going to happen that way.
Right.
But we will move beyond. We are going to hug each other again and go to
Mhm.
restaurants and do all that. It may take another year. It may take, I don't know. It'll probably be in fits and
Mhm.
starts. But I see more working from home. I do see people going
Mhm.
back to the office. I do see schmoozing and all of that stuff happening again. I do think in 10 years we'll forget all this and go back to a lot
Mhm.
of the old habits. I hope we travel less and so on. But I do think, this idea of getting closer to the environment, people exercising more, getting out more,
Mhm.
kind of that will continue. I see working from home is going to be a huge thing. I think professionals who can do that, information workers working from home, people have
Mhm.
seen how the benefits. So I do not see 100% of people going back to Midtown Manhattan, going back downtown San Francisco. Some will.
Mhm.
So that's going to change. I mean, if 50% of the people are in Midtown Manhattan, how many pizza joints and barbershops can that support? So there
Mhm.
will be a change there. It'll be interesting
Mhm.
to see how that feels. But there will be more people at their homes working,
Mhm.
and which I like. A lot of other people don't. So I think if you need to be in the
Mhm.
office, or you need to commute, or you need to do it, find a role where that's a possibility, and it's a hybrid. You might want to get comfortable with being more remote in that sense. And
Mhm.
then how do I handle? I've I one thing that I learned, and kind of the point about love and a call for love and so on, is I've done meditation. I run my dog in the morning. I try to clear my
Mhm.
mind. But one thing that I've actually just started doing, and my son and I were wrestling, and we're having a great time, and he sucker punched me, and did not feel good, right? And and he kind of had this ha, and I got angry in my mind, but
Mhm.
one thing I heard was, it just send love to him. Now, hold on. What does that mean? Casey, you're from
Mhm.
California. Enough of this touchy feely stuff. But literally, what I did in my mind, in my brain, was imagined a stream of just good feelings going towards him. And what that
Mm.
prevent one that enabled, he probably felt my energy, but two, it prevented me from thinking anything else. So I
Mm.
could not think, this little punk 10-year-old just sucker punched me. I'm going
Mhm.
to show him who's boss, right? So
Mhm.
I could not think, no one appreciates me in this family. Why did I do this? I could not think, this is
Mhm.
all the politician's fault. Why am I stuck at home? I couldn't think those thoughts.
Mhm.
It did two things. It enabled me to send him good energy, and just literally love this boy who's grown up and becoming his own person, and sucker punch
Mhm.
me because he's like, he suddenly has strength and he can punch, which is great.
Mhm.
But two, it enabled me also to block out anything else.
I
um,
love that.
so I'm taking that, and I do it on Zoom calls. I literally looking, and I'm like, just going to send love. Now, granted, you got to use your mind if they ask you a question, and so you do have to maybe take a,
Right.
right, like, here, I haven't been able, but like, so I just want to send love. And it doesn't, what does that mean? Just imagine a
Mhm.
waterfall of whatever color energy you want coming out of your brain and going to the other
Mhm.
person. So that's kind of how I've been doing it. It's a little just
I
hack
love
for
that.
me, so I don't think negative thoughts.
Yeah, you know what? And I love that this is practical because this is really some real stuff. I mean, so many people are reactive when, especially something physical. Okay, it's like we
Yeah.
react and then come back later on. I'm sorry. It just caught me off guard. I mean, we can come up with so many things, but the fact that I love the way that you even preface it to explain that, we have to try to do this. This is work. This
it,
is not like some fairy tale that's going to happen because we want to have something positive going on.
Michelle, this is so practical, because the flip side, which has happened a million times, maybe not that many,
Mhm.
is I get angry, I grit my teeth, he sees it, he
Mhm.
gets fearful. He and I get
Mhm.
into a, dude, why'd you do that? I told you not to. My wife comes in, he rushes to his room, yells at me. My
Mhm.
daughter gets angry. My wife looks at me like, what did you just do? You're the worst person.
Mhm.
And our night is ruined.
Right.
Like, I mean,
Yeah.
talk about practical. So, and it's all my fault.
Hey, I feel you.
You
It
know,
happens. As a parent, I mean, we have so many of those situations that can happen, especially when it comes to not both parents being present
right.
and one of them coming in and witnessing something
That's
when
right.
they weren't there to see the whole thing. I mean,
Exactly.
hey, it's crazy, but I love it. Now, so in conclusion, I mean,
Yeah.
I really could be here all day. I
I
got all kind of notes over here, but
No, we could. I know. But yes.
I love books. So, what books or podcasts or anything would you recommend to the audience?
Yeah. So David R. Hawkins, he passed away in
Mhm.
2010, but
Mhm.
his book, Power versus Force and Letting
Mhm.
Go, talk a lot about unraveling the ego, like that word you
Mhm.
used,
Mhm.
and love. I mean, just fantastic, fantastic books. I
Mhm.
think uh, there's what that's what I'm reading. One book that I'm actually reading that's practical is Sell with a Story. It's by
Mm.
Paul Smith. My business partner
Mhm.
Adam told me about it, and It's not really that touchy-feely, but he kind of goes into the new way of selling, the new way of communicating. And it's an age-old
Mhm.
idea to sell with a story, but he really breaks out how you can sell things, whether it's professionally, whether you're an entrepreneur, or whether it's something, personally that you want to do. So I've been reading that book, and it's
Mhm.
really helped me communicate. Like I told some stories earlier on. I don't think I would have
Mhm.
done that if I hadn't have read his book. Um,
Mhm.
there is what else am I reading? There's Oleg Logid. I was on
Mhm.
his podcast a while ago. I know he's a mutual friend. I love what
Mhm.
he's doing. So
Mhm.
I definitely encourage people to listen to his podcast. And he also is on LinkedIn and asks these great questions and gets a bunch of people
Mhm.
to comment on them. So if you can follow him, I think I've really enjoyed the work that he's doing.
Mhm.
And I think obviously there's a lot of famous people out there. Um,
Mhm.
I think that's it for now. That's some really
That's
those are
good.
sort of the books I'm reading. Yeah. Oh, one other book
That's
is
good.
*Sapiens*, Sapiens, by
Mhm.
Professor Harari, who's it was a bestseller book. But this book *Sapiens*, he sort of chronicles humans from the agriculture, the caveman days to now. Very well written,
Mm.
accessible, really eye opening. Not only kind of from a historical standpoint, but also he talks about the cognitive revolution when we started thinking, and
Mm.
that that was sort of the beginning of what you and I are talking about now. Once we started thinking, and I'll end here,
Mhm.
we literally had two choices to make. We could either view the world through love or not love, right?
Mm.
And it doesn't mean you don't stand up for yourself and you don't fight if you need to or defend yourself, but that's where a lot of the duality and the problems we have today is really a lot of us thinking about fear, whether it's fear about the other side in politics, whether it's fear that if I leave this job, my family will be disappointed. And so I've connected the dots in his writing to that. When we started to think, when organisms really
Mhm.
started to connect things, it made sense. Saber-tooth tiger in the bushes, I don't want to get eaten. But we've sort of taken that fear and that adrenaline into everyday life, and we don't really need to. So Sapiens is another great book.
Right. I love that. Because so many times, things that someone had told me a saying, they said that, we're really not designed to thrive. We're just designed to survive
Wow.
because we do just enough to stay alive. And so that's the mindset of thinking, okay, what's going to get me today? And you're just thinking about survival. So when you think about thriving, that's going against the grain. That's where the work is because surviving is easy. That's the natural path. I thought that was really
I
profound.
just wrote that down. Um, that's absolutely fantastic. Wow. And
Mhm.
when you think about it that way, that's where the limiting beliefs, it makes sense, right? Like you've got limiting
Mhm.
beliefs because I heard, to build on that, someone told me, procrastination is self-sabotage or sabotaging yourself. And someone else said, it's really not self-sabotage, it's self-protection. And what
Mm.
they're trying to do is they're trying to, your ego, your status quo, these thoughts are trying to protect you from thriving, to use your words, Lachelle,
Mhm.
which is
Mhm.
because when you thrive, well, you could fail. There's the
Mhm.
unknown.
Mhm.
Or let's say you actually succeed. Who the heck are you to succeed? Big shot,
Mhm.
right? So
Mhm.
designed not to thrive, but to survive. And
Mhm.
if we could just get rid of the limiting belief that we're not supposed to thrive, that we're supposed to be average, if we
Mhm.
can get rid of that, let it go,
Mhm.
then it makes sense that
Mhm.
of course I'm supposed to be my ideal self.
So true. Yeah,
Wow.
because I mean that's just it's so easy to be average. You know what I mean? Everybody, I mean, look at the law of averages.
It
So
is
many people are doing that. So, it is the road that's most traveled. So, yeah, I thought that was profound.
so easy to
Well,
be
this is
average.
just, yeah,
Yeah.
this has been a great conversation. I would love to have you back.
I would
I
love
could
to. That flew
go on
by.
for hours.
Yes,
It went by too quick, okay?
it
So,
did.
well, yeah, so what's the best way for the audience to get a hold of you?
Thank you. Yeah. So If you're not a lawyer and just want to learn more, I've launched CaseyBerman.com, CaseyBerman.com. Have more in, there's more and more that's growing there. And so please check us out. And then
Mm-hmm.
if you're a lawyer or you know a lawyer who is unhappy and wants out, check us out at Leave Law Behind,
Mm-hmm.
leavelawbehind.com. We have a ton of free resources and a full program to help them. So either of those sites, check us out.
Sounds good. And any final words that you want to share? Say.
First of all, a big thank you. And it's so easy to talk to you. You made this so
Mm-hmm.
nice and comfortable, and I was able to open up. So one, just
Mm-hmm.
big thank you to you, and big thank you to your audience and those listening for being
Mm-hmm.
here. And we heard a lot this idea of we're all in this together. And I think some people
Mm-hmm.
didn't mean it, and some people were flippant about it. But if you take a step back and move beyond, again, the racial elements, the political elements, the environmental, the
Mm-hmm.
economic, if we're able to kind of look at this, sort of go to 30,000 feet, you realize that we really all are. We're all one energy. We're all here helping each other. And so when someone is reacting to you, whether it's at work, someone's getting crabby on a Zoom call, whether it's family, I would just go back to what I learned, which is someone is either giving you love, which is great,
Mm-hmm.
or is a call for love.
Mm-hmm.
And remember that if they're giving love, great, give them love back. If it's a
Mm-hmm.
call for love, still give them love.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't mean you don't stand up for yourself, doesn't mean you don't nip it in the bud, doesn't mean you negotiate any harder for that refinance on your house. But it
Mm-hmm.
does mean that you come to it with knowing that that credit committee is scared, that your child is coming from
Mm-hmm.
fear. The person who's crabby at work might feel insecure about his or her job. And just
Mm-hmm.
realizing that they're not doing it, it's not personal, they're not doing it to you, they're doing it more so
Mm-hmm.
because they're really just a call for help.
I love that. That is just really good.
Hard to
So,
do.
I mean, yeah,
Hard
it's
to
hard
do.
to do. Yeah, it is. But once you start practicing it, it's like a muscle.
It is.
It gets easier over time.
That's right.
And so, and then, for me, I just have to limit the things that go against that mindset.
Yeah.
That's why I don't watch the news because
Yeah.
it's like you get into the news and, you have this idea of being intentional and that's out the window after, 10 minutes of watching what the broadcast said, because
I
there's
agree.
so many, I don't know. It's to me, it's subliminal or something.
I agree.
I
It's
don't
like
know.
eating too much candy too quick. You just feel bad 8 minutes later.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm like, look, that's one field that I have hung my suit back in the closet.
I
I was
agree.
a news anchor telling all the news and not getting paid, right?
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Oh, good.
So, yeah, we let that go. But this has just been great, Casey.
Thank you.
So wonderful. Great interview and looking forward to us connecting again soon,
I
okay?
love it. Michelle, thank you again. I really appreciate it. And everyone listening, thank you. I really am honored to take some of your time. Hopefully this was helpful.
Yeah, it's great. So you have a wonderful day, okay?
You too. Thank you.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode. I really enjoy providing content that inspires and challenges us to be a better version of ourselves. If you are interested in being a guest on the show, please email me at info@lachelleatkins.com. You can also reach out to me on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Pinterest, or my YouTube channel. If there was something in this episode that resonated with you, it probably will resonate with someone else. So please share it. It's free. It doesn't cost anything. But those aha moments, those moments of really getting something and changing your perspective are very, very pivotal in having people change the trajectory of their lives. And so being able to share insightful information so that other people can grow is the easiest thing that we can do as we pay it forward. So again, I want to thank you all for listening. And if you have time, write out a review. Go to iTunes, Anchor, wherever you can find this podcast on any of those platforms, and write a review about what impact this episode had on you, what you learned, or whatever. Any feedback is great because it just helps me to understand what content is really beneficial for those that are listening. So again, I want to thank you all for your support and taking the time to spend some time with me and my guests. And I wish you a wonderful day. Thanks for listening.